So I hope you guys have all had a great day.
Hey, you don't like Foxy.
If uh, um, if you guys have questions that you want to ask during the session, there's a chat. There's a chat feature that you can send them to me, and then I'll try to work all of that into our discussion to cover everything. And if something that you think about afterwards that we didn't cover, feel free to send me your questions and things like that, and I can try to address everything afterwards as well. So I guess we're gonna wait a couple more minutes. Darlene, it's nice to see you on here. I was excited when I saw your name. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh God, I don't know what I just did.
Yes, I gave her one.
Hold on. There we go. I see you, Carrie. I gotta call you as well after we're done with this. I'll give you a call about our other stuff. Yeah. So I'm gonna wait another minute or so, and then we will get started. I just want to give everybody an opportunity so we don't start too early. I do want to say, I am super honored that Monique would choose to take part in this. We've talked about doing all this stuff for a long time. And so now she's also going to be doing some advocacy meetings on Zoom or Skype, or I'm assuming Zoom, coming up. And it feels a little crazy because I learned a lot of what I know from her, and she is so amazing and knowledgeable and kind and out there for everybody all the time, that I'm just really pleased that she decided to do this for us. So Monique most recently welcomed Travion Blount home. Travion was sentenced to 6 life sentences plus 118 years in Virginia when he was 15 years old for a crime in which no one was murdered, maimed, molested, harmed in any way, which is really crazy, but that's how we do things in Virginia. And she advocated on his behalf for several years. She worked with his legal team. She was out there in the media. She held events. She just rocked that shit. Excuse my language. And now Travion is home. So clearly what she did worked. She's also done this for other people in the past. If y'all have background noise, that's totally fine. But if you could mute yourselves in the background, there's a little bit of background noise. Sorry about that. So Monique works in multiple states like I do. Pennsylvania, New York, Virginia. Am I missing anything?
Maryland, and I've had one case in Georgia.
Okay, one case in Georgia. And she is really knowledgeable in using the media, as well as, just the normal options of getting the legal team involved and getting things in place to really push the case forward. So with all that said, I will turn this over to her. And then, like I said, if you have, got one more person coming in. If you have any questions as we're going, just go ahead and send those to me on the chat feature, and then I will work that into our conversation to the best of my ability. So turn it over to Monique.
Hey y'all, how you doing?
Good.
Good? Okay.
Good.
Hey Lori, I think I've seen you on social media, and Lisa has spoken about you. So how you doing? It's a pleasure to see your face.
I am good. It's a pleasure to see yours too. I've heard a lot about you as well.
Is everybody there?
Okay.
Are we having? Okay. Hallelujah.
All right. Cool. I guess things are going in and out.
Yeah.
But anyway, I wanted to, hey Lori, because I've seen you on social media and everything. It's great to see everybody up here. I appreciate everybody coming on, taking your time, and just to hear what I have to say and the struggles and the questions that you may have, I can answer. Just the overall fight in this so-called justice system. It's a tough battle. It's really a tough battle for the wrongly convicted, those who are really suffering from harsh sentencing. It's really sad with the harsh sentencing. I mean, it's like Travion, like I said, is a great example. 14 years old, he got convicted and sent away at 15. He's now 29. He'll be 30 in October. Just being raised in prison it's a lot. It's a lot to process, and I'm surprised that he's dealing with things the way he is dealing with them. He lives with my family, and now he came home and he's living with us. So he's like my son now. I went ahead and seen his case like 7 years ago on social media, and when I seen it, I had so many emotions. I cried. I read the story probably about 7, 8, 9 times. Cried again. Ironically, I have a son named Trayvon, and they're the same age. So I just put my feet in his mom's shoes, and I just was just devastated about the whole thing. I couldn't process it. So one of the first things I did with Travion's case was I reached out and put a post on. You know, social media has its highs and lows, and I put his name out on social media, asked if anybody knew his family. And my friend Alvin actually went to school with his sister. So he connected us immediately. I contacted his sister and his mom, and I asked him to meet up with me the next day and to trust me. I know that was a bit of a stretch because they don't know me, trusting me, you know. We met at Olive Garden and we sat there for almost 5 hours, and I just told him I can do what I'm capable of doing. And his mom cried and cried and cried and cried in the Olive Garden. And I just took her hands and told her to trust me. From that point on, I just went in head full speed and started advocating for him. I didn't know his attorney at the time. And I spoke to him a few days after that. I had one of his mother's blessing as far as setting up social media and reaching out to the governor and all of that, you know, good stuff. Because people get really, with cases and attorneys and stuff, they get very sensitive. And I understand they get very sensitive about things. And so when I went ahead and set everything up, and met up with his attorney. Him and I sat. He didn't know who I was. I told him what I do and everything. Of course, he was a little adamant because his case is so sensitive. And when Lou Henson broke his case, it started catching like wildfire. And then I pushed it on I have people from Germany, from Africa, from New Zealand, from all parts of the world hitting me up because they were just so upset and distraught about his sentence. Once we did that, I held a rally. I'm not a big rally girl. I'm not a big march girl, but I know I had to bring people in, you know, to assist in pushing his case. And once that pretty much happened, I kept, me and Governor McAuliffe, we laugh about it, but calling him and stalking every day, 3-4 times a day, to the point that his secretary knew who I was. And just a whole of people just think I was calling more so every day. And once that took, you know, people were calling and calling and calling and calling, and his petition, I think I probably got over 100,000 signatures within 2 weeks because I was pushing every single night. Every single night I would push. And that caught on. It was a long fight. It was a lot of disappointing days in court, the Virginia Supreme Court, and all of these different places. It was been a lot of tears. I knew we was going to get there. I knew in my heart that we was going to get there, but I also knew it was going to be a battle. So here we are, fast forward 6.5 years later. Governor McDonald was in office, and that's a whole nother conversation about him reducing his sentence to 40 years and everything. And then we found out it was null and void, and that was a whole another situation. He got, he was in trouble for the things him and his wife was doing. And Governor McAuliffe came in. He's heaven sent. He's really for prison reform. It's one thing, these politicians and everything talk about it, but then it's another thing that they're actually put in action and they really care. I'm at the Capitol often sitting on panels, mass incarceration panels, and I see what's going on and I hear what's going on. And folks really sometimes just don't care. They don't care because, as we all know, I think most of us know up here that the prison pipeline is a huge business. And it's a huge business at the expense of those who are Black and brown and those who are white and poor. That's who's affecting. It's affecting the poor people. When he was sentenced to that much time, he didn't understand what was going on, even though his attorney was telling him to go ahead and take his co-defendants top out 10 years, 13 years. And Travion, 14-year-old, hearing that, 10 years, and it's like, no, he couldn't understand. So he kept saying no. He wanted to take it to trial because in his mind, he really thought that he probably would get off or maybe spend 2 years in jail or something like that. And that wasn't the case. And when the judge banged down the gavel and the day he got his sentence, Travion, when the sentencing came down, he had 53 counts. The sentencing came down, he just looked at his mother and said, "Mom, what happened? I don't understand." He really didn't understand. Everybody cried. Some of the victims was there. They were asking the judge not to sentence him that much because he was there. You can tell that he wasn't even, he went there trying to be, I always tell him, I said, you try to be grown and try to be hard, huh? He went there trying to smoke and drink that day, and it wound up getting him in trouble. And he was with those two adults. But for him to get that sentence that harshly and making United States history, being the first juvenile sentenced that much for a non-homicidal crime, making history, that's serious. And he always said, I don't want to be known for this. It's sad that which was 3 years ago when he received his pardon. He didn't even get out along with the other 5 people that was pardoned with him. They all came home in 60, 90 days, and they kept him in there. And they tried to add on. He's really wasn't supposed to be home until 2021 of April 5th, 2021. That's when his sentence was supposed to be. His really supposed to be. Again, before, why are you holding? He completed all programs. He did everything. So I was feeling like it was political, and there was a lot of people that didn't want him to come home. I won't name names, but I actually butt heads with some of the political people in Richmond and had to leave meetings because I didn't understand the why behind all of this. I really just couldn't understand when there's real murderers out here and there's real pedophiles and real rapists and everything out here, and they're being released and they still have him lock and key. I just couldn't understand it. But again, fast forward, he's home. He lives here with me. He's not here right now. He has a girlfriend, so he's out with his girlfriend right now. But he's doing great. He's working. He has a job. He's taking a certification class to be a fitness trainer. He's all into fitness and working out, and it's it's a process though, just teaching him just the small things some of us may take for granted, like the cell phone. He's not good with the cell phone. Figure that out. Just trying to figure out little things, and as we drive, just asking questions. And everything is new to him. It's a newborn baby. Everything is new to him, and he asks a lot of questions, which is fine. Which I think everybody should just ask a lot of questions. And he's trying to process. He is a father. A lot of people didn't know that he's a father too. Yes, he's made 2 children. I see your face, Patty. he made 2 children right before he got incarcerated at 14 years old. His daughters are 3 weeks apiece. 3 weeks apart from each other. And they're 13. And he's been a hands-on dad since he's been home. He only been home two months, but he's been a hands-on dad. Those girls was with him all the time. When he get home and right before he got his job and everything. And that was like their first time meeting him face to face and just connecting with him and everything. So we got some parenting classes and stuff like that coming up for him because he's still trying to figure things out himself with this whole dad thing, you know, with girls, it's difficult. So that's pretty much it about Travion's case. I don't know if anybody has any questions before I go on about the advocate part of what I do and how it works for me. If any of you have questions, shoot away.
I don't have any right now. That doesn't mean I won't get some, but I don't have anything right now.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. I don't know. How many of you have loved ones that's wrongfully convicted or been sentenced harshly? Nicole, Janae, Kat, okay, Darlene, Carrie, okay, Lori, okay. And I'm pretty sure it's been a battle. How many, like your husbands, your loved ones, have done over 20 years? Okay. And you guys are just waiting in court. You can just raise your hand, waiting for the court process. Or have they exhausted all of their, they've exhausted everything? Okay. Lori, what state are you in?
Lori's in Tennessee.
Sorry, I was muted. Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Mhm.
And he's done over 20? And he's exhausted everything?
24 years, yeah.
So have you done the governor thing?
Not yet.
That's probably where you need to go next.
Yeah, we're looking at successive federal habeas, but yeah, we're also talking about clemency with the governor. That's why I was so excited to hear from you.
He's with the feds or he's with the state?
He's under a state sentence.
Okay.
But we're trying to do his federal habeas. That's where we're at for actual innocence.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after that's done, then you can go in with the whole what I do, like with the whole advocacy thing, and I can speak to you on that. I don't know how many of you, the federal cases are different, baby, from state. Y'all know that, right? It's just a whole different, for whatever reason, it's a whole different thing. But if your family have exhausted everything, as Lori's husband has exhausted everything, this last thing that she's doing with the federal habeas will actually be the last thing, Lori, and then you can go in and rally as far as pushing the governor. Your focus will be the governor, because he's the only one can get him out of this, get your family out of these situations. And I don't know if the cases, if y'all have evidence of proving their innocence. Maybe a co-defendant has said they've done the crime to let your husband, let your loved ones go or whatever. I know a lot of times in court, they don't even want to hear that. I mean, I've had a case where they actually had the guy who murdered the person, and the client that I helped, he didn't know what was going to go down. He didn't know the guy was going to rob the guy and none of that stuff. And of course, they both got a murder sentence. Fast forward or whatever, he's home actually. And the guy for years was saying, I did this, but they didn't want to hear it. So it's tough. It's really tough. But if you've exhausted everything and if you've done everything that you feel that you can, as far as that's concerned, and I know money is a lot of the issues with a lot of us, hitting up your governor is the thing to do. How many of you have done petitions? You've done petitions? Very thought out, is very thought out and very and well written, very much thought out. Okay. How many of you do you have support? Now support meaning his family, your family, friends, and everything. Okay. All right, Nicole, see you. And how many of you have started social media? That's very important because that's what's going to ignite everything is the social media. And so when social media is just not Facebook, right? Is it do you have a IG and Twitter and all that stuff? Okay. How's your followers looking? So? Okay. So
we have about 400 or 500 on average, but we can't get over that hump.
And you have all social media.
Yeah, each platform is hanging around that 500, 3 to 500.
He has a website?
Yes.
Okay, so what I would do is with those 500 people, I know it gets exhausting and sometimes you could feel defeated. I bear witness. What I would do is every day I would post something 2-3 times a day. Tag. I would, whoever's your main source that will keep reposting for you, Lori, or ladies, have that person, speak with that person, have a conference call, have a Zoom meeting, tell them like, look, we have to revamp this whole thing because we have to get our loved ones home. And just beating that in people's heads, it really helps because you feel like you're doing everything by yourself after a while. I had it with Travion's family the same way. Like, you want him home, but I need your help. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. And I need you to stay on top of it the way I am. I've had a lot of sleepless because I'm pushing his stuff because I'm so passionate. I was so passionate about getting him home, along with other clients. How is your look and see how your social media? Are you just posting about him? I have for children over adults, sadly, but it's true. So I started doing news articles. I would do little funny clips every now and then and stuff like that. And I would ask them to share his page and everything. And so it started catching on. So my maybe 10 people a day wound up turning into 1,000 a week. Be very careful what you post and how you post and make sure that you're accurate on your information about your loved ones. Because people do the research. Make sure that you are know what you're talking about, because that's very important, because people will try and challenge you. They definitely will try and challenge you because they can. It's just as simple as that. Make sure that you're not just giving up. As far as the governor, Lori, with the governor, I'll probably go ahead and start that process now with the petitions and calling them and get everybody on the bandwagon. That goes for all you ladies. Start the petitions. If you want me to review it, tweak it, or whatever, because verbiage is very important when you are emailing these governors. They see one little false thing, they see typos or whatever. I'm telling you, they won't even look at it. Be very careful with your verbiage, what you're saying, how you're saying it. And if you feel, I mean, the governor is the main target, but if you feel that you want to tag the attorney general, that's fine. If you want to tag the mayor in that county or in that state or whatever, that's fine. You can even get in contact with get the name of the governor's secretary, because they do all the work and a lot of things have to go through them.
Monique, I don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to say, like, don't you feel like with some of this stuff, it's really important to work your relationships with people that are in this process? Carrie is on this, and Carrie is a queen at this. Yeah, you have to get involved in this whole thing. You have to be in the midst of like this whole thing. The first case that I worked on is a clemency case in Virginia. And I moved from St. Louis, where I was living, to Virginia to work on that case, because when it's clemency, it's all about your relationship. Monique being able to show up at the Capitol, Carrie being able to show up at the Capitol, me being able to show up and meet people and know these people, it's a different thing than just reaching out and wanting that favor. You have to be involved in a way outside of just your thing.
Absolutely.
To get that kind of respect. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but to get them to pay attention to you. If you're just asking them for the favor or just asking them for the clemency, it's much harder, I think, and it's a much different process.
It is. It is much harder, and it is a different process. And you know, one of my sayings is we're accountable for one another. And as Lisa stated, and let me toot Lisa's horn real quick. I've known Lisa for probably about 2 years now, and she knows of me because of the Travion Blunt case, and I don't know if you, and probably my other two cases that I'm known for, the Jerron Tucker case and Lewis Mox case. But the way I've seen this woman work, how she works her stuff, makes me very proud. How she does it, how she maneuvers, who she's connected to at this point, and just hearing people praise her name because of how she moves and what she does. And I've seen firsthand, like she's come to my home and I've seen firsthand how she works and how she can create traction and to her point, get involved, go to the meetings at the Capitol, go to any mass incarceration. I don't care if it's 3 people there, go there. Anything affiliated with mass incarceration, you have to do it. Anything volunteering, maybe you want to do a drive, you can do a drive, maybe a back to school drive for those incarcerated, women and men that's incarcerated. Call the news people, tell them, look, this is what I'm doing. I feel passionate. I'm an advocate. The children, they're suffering because their parents is in prison, wrongly convicted, harshly sentenced. That alone, they'll know Patty, they'll know Carrie, they'll know Darlene, they'll know Sandra, they'll know your names just from that. Call the news, call the newspapers and everything. I have a great relationship with Lou Henson. He's the one that broke Travion's case. And if it wasn't for that man, I would have not known about his case. And he called me the other day, as a matter of fact. Me, him, and Travion was on the phone. And I tell him all the time, I give him his props and everything, because he went to the juvenile courts and spent days there looking for cases. And when he came across Travion's case, he was outraged. And he utilized his platform, he's a reporter, and put it on the front page of the Virginia Pilot. And that connected me. He connected me. I said, okay, so I got him. Let me go ahead and hold his rally. Again, I'm not a rally march march to my feet and burning person. I'm just not. I'm very vocal. My mouthpiece is my mouthpiece, and that's what's getting me to where I need to be. And I've connected with a lot of people, such as Lisa, and many great advocates down the line that I've known for years. So it's going to be those days, and I think, Carrie, you probably can attest that you have to be out there. Sometimes you don't want to be out there. Sometimes you're tired. Sometimes you don't want to connect with certain advocates because you know what it is with them. So sometimes you just, and Carrie, I know who you are too. Much blessings to you. And sometimes it's really, really tough. I'm a one-woman army, but however, don't think Monique won't call Lori and Patty and be like, look, this is what's going down, girl. I need help. I need this. I need, let's get this on. Let's get this going together. It's not easy. And you can be known for being great, pick and choose your legacy, or just don't sit on anything. You want your loved ones home, you fight for them like it's their last breath. Because if not who, then if not us, then who? Because a lot of them really don't care. They'll have your loved ones sitting in there until they die. I mean, I'm being really honest. So we got to keep fighting for them. And whatever information that any of us have other than this, let's share it. If the main thing is don't give up. Don't give up and try not to get frustrated. You still have to take a me day and push back from this because you just have to, because you can drain yourself. I bear witness. But just keep pushing and just keep pushing. And a lot of people are not gonna feel as passionate as you, and they're not gonna be as passionate as you are either. So don't get discouraged about that either. A lot of people want to be on there for the moment, for the first few days, first few weeks or whatever, and then they start to taper off. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure all you ladies know all of that, though. It's not easy. So where is everybody from? Because, different rules are applied to different things in different states. How many in Virginia?
We've got
Carrie.
three in Virginia. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4 in Virginia, 1 in Tennessee, 2 in California. Janae, where are you from? I'm not sure. Oh, Portsmouth. Oh, she's in Virginia too. Okay, good. Good. So we've got Virginia and we've got California, and that's, wait, Sandra, are you from, where are you?
Virginia.
I can't hear.
She's on mute.
Oh, she's on mute. Okay.
And who's from California?
Can you hear me?
There's stuff.
Oh, there
Yeah,
you
I can
are.
hear you now.
Okay, I reside in Miami, Florida. My clients are in Virginia.
It's a federal case though, is that correct?
It's a federal case.
Yeah, that's right. And so you have court options. Are you still doing court options in addition to looking at the clemency?
Yes, Garrett, who is the attorney on the case, is going to be filing a base.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that case. So what I think I'm going to do is let you know now after we've been talking a little bit. I would like everybody to send me the social media links for your cases. I'm going to include those in with the notes that I send out to everybody, that I send out tomorrow, so we can all be following each other's accounts. Maybe you can get some ideas and things from that as well. Yeah, I think that obviously the rules are different, from federal and state to state, but I think when we're talking to advocacy in general, a lot of that is kind of the same, and how we, do things online and that kind of stuff. Now, the federal clemency will be totally, different from what our process is. But in terms of the advocacy stuff, a lot of it is going to be the same.
And what Lisa just said, you guys can email me as well. I have a huge following under Travion's case, and I'll create something like something similar to like what Lisa does, like a spotlight a spotlight day on cases or something like that once a week.
We like
And
that.
he has thousands, probably about 8,000 followers and supporters. So that can bring traction as well, to, what's going on with y'all cases and stuff. The federal, as Lisa stated, yeah, it's a little different than the state stuff. Even this whole corona situation, me and Lisa was talking about that, like with the feds, they're letting a lot of people out in the state because of the coronavirus, that they have a few years and under or whatever, that you have to go through a whole process with the feds if somebody is sick in the federal prisons and they got a few more years left or whatever, just to got to get attorneys, you got to go through all of this stuff just with them right now. And it's difficult. I know a lot of people that's in there that's the people that's hitting me up sick, and I'm just like, it's just they want to go about a whole different, thing with the feds. And with the feds, you want to target more so, if it's drug charges and all that stuff, more so the president over the governor, because the governor's not even going to see that anything pertaining to it, to any cases, because that's the presidential thing. Just like the state is just governor, the president doesn't have nothing to do with that. So I think that you guys should definitely revamp whatever you have. I mean, when's the last time you revamped your sites and your social media and everything? Has it been a while?
I revamped Joe's website recently, but I think I need to add a page that's less wordy to the front of it, because the very first page is a lot of reading.
Yeah, and people, they'll start getting lost after the fifth sentence. Honestly.
Right.
They do. They start getting lost, and it's just like, me, I everything because I want to know. But their attention is short, and they're just like blah blah blah, unless it's their case, unless or something is happening with them. I can definitely look at review that as well, Lori. I have not a problem doing that. Y'all take full advantage of me this weekend because I'll be home doing legal stuff this weekend. So if you need me to look at anything, just let me know. What revamping and the things you can do and the things, people are attracted, this might sound weird, but people are attracted to color too. I noticed that, like, I always tell people to think in color, but I notice people are really attracted, that can bring people in as well and less wording. Because what people do, they'll read the first few sentences or whatever, and then they actually want to inbox you or contact you, and they want to hear what's going on. So.
Okay, so Janae has, I know you said you don't know where to start, but if you have specific questions, Janae, now is the time.
Okay, so my daughter, her father received 2 life sentences plus 140 years at the age of 18 for aggravated malicious wounding. He was with someone else who committed the crime, but the detective told him, once he told me, he's been locked up for 11 years. Once he gave me the case and told me what happened, really, because he hadn't really talked about it, and we kind of just let it be, it is what it is, because we were young, we didn't know what was going on, thought that was it. He told me, the detective, he's saying what his case is was based on is a coerced confession. He said he can get back into court because the detective violated his Miranda rights. He asked them for an attorney the whole time he was being interrogated, and the detectives told him, he couldn't call anybody, and if he didn't admit to this aggravated malicious wounding, then he would be serving life for attempted murder. Then the victims that came to court, and they described the person. They said he was tall and dark, and he was heavy built. Emmett is 5'3", and he's very fair skinned, and weighs like 100 pounds. But the detectives got him to say that he did it because he had been interrogated for 12 hours, and they didn't let him up or let him leave. And they told him if he didn't just sign what they had already written up, then he would be serving life for attempted murder. So as the case went on or went through, he just was shaking his head yes to anything that the prosecutor and the detectives were saying. And his attorney as well, he said that she was supposed to do a motion to suppress, but then she didn't do the motion to suppress. She told him they could fight the case as self-defense, which he just agreed to because, again, he was 18, never been arrested, so he didn't know what was going on. He told me what he's done so far is the first thing he'd done his first year of being locked up, he filed a motion to vacate. He said that was denied, and then he filed an appeal, and the court denied the appeal because he didn't notify the city of Portsmouth that he was doing appeal. So does he still have another chance to appeal, or I've been seeing things about being time barred because he's been in jail so long?
It's probably time barred. Did they give him his attorney, the attorney when he went to court? Do you have any information on that person, on that attorney?
Yeah, he sent me all the paperwork, and I have the name of the attorney. She was court appointed because he didn't have money to pay for an attorney.
So she's you're in Portsmouth, right?
Yes.
She's in Portsmouth. Have her name? Do you know her name off the top of your head?
Oh, no, I don't know her name off the top of my head. It's all in the paperwork.
You have all his paperwork?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Take my phone number down, and we'll see. But it's definitely time barred.
Is this a Portsmouth case? This happened in Portsmouth? Oh, I can't hear.
It's happened in Portsmouth, Jeanette?
Yes, it happened in Portsmouth.
Okay. Do you know if the officer, a lot of times with officers that coerce confessions, it's a pattern of behavior that they've done before. Have you done any research on whether or not this officer has any other, accusations like this in his past at all?
No, I haven't done anything.
Okay.
I don't know where to start.
Okay, so I'm gonna send you my info as well, and then maybe between Monique and I, we can kind of help you get some traction to what to do next, where to go, how to do it, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Be in touch.
Where is he at?
He is in Sussex State 1 prison.
I teach there all the time too. I'm in there all of the time.
Well, he was sent to Red Onion State Prison, but he had got his jaw broken, and he got his jaw broken up there, and he was put in the hole after his jaw was broken, and he was left there for 3 days until the nurses came and got him. So he now has a case against the doctors and the guards in Red Onion. So he's in Sussex 1 for medical now.
Are they bringing him back to Red Onion? I would hope not.
They only have him here for medical. The only reason he hasn't been sent back yet is because of the virus.
COVID. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, like Lisa just stated, we'll get with you after that, because it's a zillion questions, and I know we're time limited here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so Monique, what would you are you there, Monique?
But we'll kink out everything once we get off, or tomorrow or whatever. Is he doing okay? He's all right?
Sorry, he's fine right now. He suffered his jaw being broken 3 years ago. So that's just been an ongoing case since he's suing the doctors and a couple of the CEOs there because they wouldn't help him based off of retaliation. That's what he's saying.
How often do we hear cases like this though? It's sad. You know, something similar to that. It's just really, this whole system is just sad. It really is. It's very painful to even hear all of that. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll get with you. So you're in Portsmouth, so you're right around the corner. I'm in Virginia Beach.
Oh, okay.
So we can, connect. Well,
Okay.
I guess after the COVID thing, we can connect. But we can definitely talk on the phone and stuff and get details.
Okay, thank you.
So is there anything, I know this whole COVID situation is like have everybody at a pause, but it's not a period, it's just a pause right now. Was there anything coming up for you guys? Any court, any meetings coming up, any states, anything that was supposed to be happening or going to happen? Anything that was looking good on your behalf on the case, or anything? Where you guys at?
With him, he just got the letter last week for his case against the doctors. They postponed that until December. So we'll see what happens then with that.
Okay. What about you, darling? You're on mute. Oh.
Darlene, I can't hear you. Can anyone hear her?
Oh, no, I heard you, Lisa.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear her?
No. Can't hear you. Is your volume up? Oh. Darlene advocates on a excessive sentencing case. It's a really crazy case in Virginia. Did he get a mandatory life sentence for first-time drug offense, I believe? And no violence involved in the crime. Actually, Darlene's case kind of led me to one other thing that I wanted to talk about on the Zoom for tonight. Is sometimes it's hard when we're doing the excessive sentencing cases and clemency cases because we kind of feel like we're in it all by ourselves, and it's our case, and it's a little difficult sometimes to sorry, there we go. It's a little difficult to get traction and maintain that. And one thing that I really found, and this kind of piggybacks off what I've said before, is in terms of working your relationships, is to really try to network with people that are in the same boat as you, or find organizations in your state, in your area, where you're working your case that can, you can piggyback off of, or maybe they can offer support. Virginians for Judicial Reform is the organization that I'm the director of in Richmond, and I'm always happy to, review cases, send in letters of support, be an advocate at parole hearings, things like that you can do. A lot of times, it's really interesting to me. The first case that I worked on, his family had been fighting for him for about 21 years, I think, when I got involved. And I was able to make progress, not because I was doing anything different. I was able to make progress because I wasn't a family member. I wasn't his girlfriend. I wasn't his wife. And that's what they look at sometimes. And I think it can go both ways. There's so many people that are just grateful that they're willing to listen to somebody else. And then you have sometimes it's a situation where it's a little bit toxic or negative, where people are a little resentful that they're willing to listen to someone. And so I was saying the same thing, you know, that they had been saying for so long, and for the, you know, these random reasons they were willing to listen to me. So sometimes I think that really trying to network and try to get a third party to go in if you are a loved one, or it's a relative, I think it really makes a big difference sometimes. So it's something to consider. Organizations like FAM, the Families Against Mandatory Minimums, can be really helpful. The ACLU, if they're willing to share anything, if they're willing to work with you on events, all of that stuff can be very helpful and give you a sense of community while you're doing this stuff, because it's all really hard. For me, Monique was the first advocate that was like me, that was doing what I was trying to do. And so just having another person that was doing what I was trying to do and that I could kind of vent to or bounce ideas off of helped me immensely. I'm going to be creating it's going to be a private Facebook group on my consulting page, so that when you know you have challenges or questions or things like that and you're not sure where to go with that, you'll be able to come on there and you know, maybe just put that out there. And I'm not going to know all the answers, but I have lots of friends and I'm happy to, you know, use my little mini favors with them to get some answers, you know, when we run into specific challenges. So I think that's important. It's something to keep in mind, because sometimes it's so demoralizing to be told no all the time. And I'm not a big fan of that in general anyway. So having people that you can talk to really kind of helps. So yeah. I just got a text, and she's right. I just got a text from someone. It matters how you approach the situation when you go into these meetings. So in Virginia right now, I'm not sure about California or Tennessee, but in Virginia right now, they're doing all these town halls. Monique knows, and so the parole board chair will be there, or the secretary of public safety, or the head of the DOC, Harold Clark, our good friend, will be at these meetings talking to people. And, you know, when families come in, you know, rightfully so, like, we're angry, you know, and we're frustrated, like, what you got for me today? You know, anything different from what it normally is? And you know, they aren't going to. But when you come in there and you act crazy with them, they don't care. And it's just going to shut them down more to anything you have to say in the future. So it's really important to try to be as professional and detached as possible. And I've legit told family members, don't go, because you're just going to be pissed, and it's not worth coloring everything else after this, because you're in such a state, you know, right now where it's not going to be anything positive. Do you have anything to say about that, Monique, in terms of the interactions with public officials?
It's a doozy sometimes. It's like I said, I've sat on many panels and at the Capitol, and surprisingly, I joke with Lisa. I'm like, oh, they called me. They want me back. I don't know why they want me back, because I'm very vocal, and I know a lot of them don't like what I have to say. But if I'm speaking on behalf of those incarcerated, and what's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong, I'm going to speak on it. And you know, it can be very for us, this is our passion, and again, our passion and our drive, because our loved ones they're affected by it, and it gets personal. It is personal. And when you get the opportunity, or when you do go into the Capitol, or these mass incarceration meetings, and speaking up and everything, say what you mean and mean what you say. I mean, the truth is the truth. You don't know how somebody feels until maybe your kid is in this situation. I mean, I've gotten beaten up. I've been not beaten up literally.
Is she free? Is she frozen for everybody?
Yeah, she froze for me too.
Okay. Technology. You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah, it said her bandwidth was low. Did you see that? Like
Oh,
on my screen?
That's what I kept saying.
Yeah.
I didn't see all that, but I have on like a group view so I can see everybody that's on right now, and I think she's gone now. Okay.
Yeah, she
I
might.
don't see her.
She might pop back in. So I would like everyone, for those of you that work on specific cases, please send me the social media links or the accounts for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, websites, all of that stuff. And I'm going to share it in the notes. And then also Monique will, take a look at things and be able to go over that as well. I think that might be helpful for some of us. Darlene, yours is really good. You always share really interesting other stories. But one thing I do, and I pay attention, I like it. I want to see more. I like that you share thoughts from Jesse too. I think that is very helpful. But one thing I would say is like sharing more case specific information about his case would be helpful to people too, because I'm in Virginia and so I know what his situation is, but like learning more about the egregiousness of the sentences when this is what we're talking about. Janae, for 2 life sentences for a malicious wounding, like, are you kidding me? The first case I worked on in Virginia was a murder case and the guy got 82 years, which again, I don't agree with that sentence either, but 2 life sentences for a case where nobody died is a little nuts. Yeah, Sandra,
Yeah.
yours is real. Sandra's is crazy. These 2 gentlemen, I'll just tell you because I'm a nerd about some of this stuff. These gentlemen were found not guilty of a murder and still sentenced to life in prison because of drug charges. It is I mean, literally, sometimes I read this stuff and I think this can't be reality. This can't be right. This is just, you couldn't make this up. You wouldn't believe it if it was on a movie. And hers was like that. I was like, what is she putting out here? This can't possibly be correct. And it completely is correct. It is what it is. So,
and when you read the court transcripts, it's even worse because it's like, wow, I'm actually reading this, and this is what took place, and this is how it ended. I cannot believe this is right.
Right, and you know what? One thing that I did on the case that I was telling you about before that worked really well for me is, clip out those sections of the transcripts. Clip out those sections at the end when they're getting sentenced for these things and show people exactly what it is. I think for some people it's like they think that when we relay it, it's like a narrative. Do you know what I mean? Like we're telling our version of what happened. When they put it in black and white, it's really hard to dispute that. So, so yeah, I apologize. My family all came home because they're out. I'm quarantining with them in Iowa, so can't kick them out forever. But yeah, I do think that sometimes, if you have video footage of court hearings or things, I know a lot of us don't. I was lucky enough to have that. But using the trial transcripts, using news reports that you have. Lori did a bunch of work. We went to the library down in Tennessee. She went several times and went through microfiche, finding old articles from papers that were no longer there to find stuff. I mean, these cases, look, when you get involved in these cases and they're 20 years old, shit, the internet wasn't the same back in the day. You can't pull all of this stuff off. So for newer cases, Janelle would say, go to newspapers.com. They have free trials for 7 to 14 days on some of these sites where you can you want to read what they said happened in these cases, because a lot of times you can see the way a narrative shifts from when a crime occurs to when they're in court again and when they're getting sentenced. And you can see the way the story kind of shifts in whatever direction the state wants to take it. And that happens to a lot of us. Nicole's got a crazy case in Virginia. Nicole, her loved one was forced, advised by his attorney to plead guilty to a sexual assault. The DNA proves he didn't commit, and the co-defendant literally admits to doing that crime and still is in prison for this.
Wow.
Commit. And we have evidence of that. But it's so interesting, as somebody's talked about this earlier, how a lot of times you have these co-defendants who admit to committing the crime, and it's like
Right.
the court doesn't want to hear that. You know, just like what Oscar talked about in our last meeting, and I think that I've sent it. Janae, you may be the only one that doesn't have the link from last week, and I'll get that to you. You know, the court loves nothing more than finality and being done with it, and they don't want to have to review it again. If you have, unfortunately, they look at recantations from witnesses, you know, it's kind of the redheaded stepchild of evidence, and they will look for anything they can to disregard all of it. And a lot of times they'll look at it and they'll say, you know, oh, well, did he lie back in the day? Is he lying today? We don't know, so we're going to disregard everything they've said. And that, unfortunately, it happens a lot. When you have DNA evidence, when you have some sort of scientific analysis, that helps in terms of getting them to listen. But even that, you know, one of my guys that got out, Darnell Phillips, you know, Darnell has DNA evidence that he didn't commit this crime, and yet the state refused to grant his writ of actual innocence. So what does Darnell have to do? Darnell gets out on parole, which is crazy after he stole 28 years of his life. He gets out on parole. Then he has to go and advocate to the General Assembly to get them to change the writ of actual innocence, to be able to file a second writ of actual innocence, to cleared of a crime that he's only out of prison because they know he didn't commit. You know, we don't have a justice system. We have a legal system, and you really have to operate mentality. This isn't about fair. This isn't even about the law. This is about covering up for what they said happened, and they don't want to if they did anything wrong most of the time, you know. So I'm sorry.
That's actually what a lawyer said to me when I was looking for an attorney. He told me it's going to be hard to try to fight this case because Virginia never wants to admit they're wrong. And that had me scared. That was another question, finding an attorney that is actually going to help with the case and not just take my money for a long time, a long period of time, and actually not do anything with the case.
Right. And one thing that I would say when you're looking for attorneys, whether you're asking for pro bono help or whether you're going to pay the attorney, I would say do your research. Look for attorneys that have handled cases similar to yours, or have handled excessive sentencing cases. Really do your due diligence. In Virginia, it's very hard because they never want to say that they did anything wrong. But it's hard because, you know, your loved one's been down 11 years, so your loved one's not parole eligible. So there's no remedy to that, right? So you have no choice but to fight the case, right? So you go back in and you start looking for lawyers in your area, but maybe not. Maybe you're looking up in Northern Virginia. Maybe you're looking around. I work with a great lawyer up in Northern Virginia, and this man, he shocked the hell out of me when we were working on a case for one of my guys that's getting out. He's getting out in 9 days. I can't hardly contain myself right now, but he looked at me and he said, you know, Lisa, we're all guilty of shit. He said, I represent guilty people. I represent people that were excessively charged and sentenced. We're all guilty of shit. And I was like, wow, well, we are. We've all done things. We've all seen things. Whatever it is, you know, we've all been a part of something sometimes. And so, you know, being realistic and owning the part of it that maybe they did when it's an excessive sentence or it's a, you know, overcharging kind of thing, owning those parts of it and being realistic about that. Yeah, you know what? Should I have been there? No. But did I commit this crime? No, I didn't. You know what I mean? The other thing is really playing up all of the positive things that they've done since they've been in prison. Nicole, your loved one has done some fantastic things. Carrie, your loved one, I can't wait to know him outside. I mean, I can't wait to know him now. Like, some of these people inspire me in a way. Lori, yours too. I call you ugly crying when I get those letters. I mean, they touch my heart and my soul. They are my family. When I am fighting for them, they are my family. Seeing Darnell Phillips come home was the greatest day of my life. I don't think there will ever be anything that touches that until we get to Dion in 9 days. And seeing my friend Adam Brazil come home, you know, I fought for Adam and helped his family with some things. Seeing him come home, reuniting these people with their families, that's what you want. You can't give up. You can't get discouraged. When you do get discouraged and you get down, you reach out to people that are in the same boat as you are. And that's why I think this networking stuff is so beneficial. You know what I mean? But there are people, I promise you, sometimes you feel like you're in it alone. And sometimes you are. You have days where you're in that and you're the one doing the hard things, all the hard things. But I promise you, there are people that care, that are out there, you know. Patty, my good friend Patty, she doesn't work on any cases right now, but I made her do the Zoom with me. I said, I feel like one day we are going to be doing this, you know, and seeing there are people that care, you know, and you just got to find them. Nicole, we had that talk this weekend. You just got to find your people, and you got to hold on to them, you know, and support each other and lift each other up. Patricia, you're the same way. You know, you're in this fight, and you're going to be doing all these things too. So, yeah. So anyway, I apologize for getting a little emotional, but it is emotional. These are our lives. These are our loved ones' lives. Being there with Monique a couple weekends before Travion came home, it was such a joy to be able to celebrate that win with her. Sometimes it's hard because when you see other people coming home, it's hard because you want your loved one home, you know? But the hard thing is, and the thing that you have to remember is that we have to lift each other up. We have to celebrate the wins, because when Dion comes home, you know what? There's one more person out of the way that they're not dealing with, so that Lamar goes up, and so that you know, Charles goes up, and Joe goes up, and all these other people, you know, Jesse goes up, and then they're right there. You know what I mean? And once you see where the people win, if you can grab a hold of some of their support and use that support to your benefit, that helps too. Adam Brazil's been great about that in Tennessee. You know, grabbing a hold of people that were in your situation and using them as support people after their situation has been remedied would be helpful. So, so yeah. Anyway, I apologize for going on so long, but I think it's a lot to think about. But all of these little things can make a big difference when you're in the midst of your fight, of your battle, you know. Monique, did you have anything else you want to add?
No, I'm sorry, I had went out for a second. I don't know what happened.
No, it's technology. You gotta love it.
Yeah, just continue, just keep fighting, and everybody should just utilize each other for resources. I've seen Carrie actually seen you action over I think the past year or so. I've seen a couple of things. I've seen people shout you out. I've seen a couple of things with you. So you are such a blessing. I love your passion and everything. You're so great. You're so wonderful. I've been wanting to connect with you actually for a little while now. So it's great to see you. It's really great to see you. But everybody we can stay connected. Lisa can give you my Facebook information and everything. And if you have any questions, like Lisa stated earlier, if we can't answer them for you, I have a lot of attorney friends that I can hit up. Travion's attorney, I'm always calling him, like, John, I need to ask you something, you know. So, and he'll answer the question for me. I'll take it down, and if it's something I don't know, because I'm not an attorney, although I've studied the law and stuff like that, I'll ask him. It's not going to hurt.
One question I do have for you, Monique, that someone sent in is, have you had any experience with attorneys or paralegals who challenge you because you're not an attorney? Do you find that it's a challenge with folks, that folks question your credibility? I know I do mine.
Oh yeah, you know that. I mean, at the Capitol, I was challenged, but 2 years ago, it was was it the warden from Rollins Bridge or Red Onion? It was one of those wardens. It was one of the two wardens from one of those facilities, and he challenged me. He did the and who are you? You know, he did that really nasty. And I said, well, since you asked me, so I told him who I was or whatever. I said, I'm nobody. I'm just a black girl from the hood, from Brooklyn, that studied the law, and you know, whatever. He didn't like it. I don't care. And that's my challenge, because you don't have a law degree, and I don't have the ESQ behind my name and stuff. Let me tell you something. I've sat with Michael, I've sat with John, I've sat with the best attorneys in VA in New York. I've schooled them on things. I've sat with them talking about the system and the culture and the whole mass incarceration thing, things that they didn't know. So I know for one, the two attorneys that I've had worked with, because I'm good at petitions and appeals and stuff like that, they'll send me their stuff, ask me to proofread their stuff and everything. So that says a little something about what I can do, that they're, you know, and I'm catching errors, or add this and I'll take this out. And, you know, John and I, we work hand in hand. I mean, this man got 3 pardons under one governor in one shot. He's made history in Virginia. So, you know, for me to work with someone like him, and him and I bump heads all the time. Lisa, tell you, please. We bump heads all the time, you know, because he has a mouth on him and I can get slick at the tip sometimes. You know, I guess that's normal stuff, but, you know, it is what it is. And then he'll say something like, well, Monique, you know, if you get smart with me, I'm going to get smart. But I didn't get smart with you today, John, you know. And then I'll joke with his wife. I'm like, get your husband. And, you know, it's a good, like, we're family now. We're family. But they're going to, somebody's always going to challenge you because you don't have that ESQ behind your name. You're not an attorney. You don't have a law firm. And you don't have to have a law firm to know the law. You don't even have to go to school in the state of Virginia to get your degree. You know, here, New York, and is it California? Is it Cali, right? Those are 3 states, right, Patricia? Those are the 3 states that you don't even have to, you could just study on your own and then study under an attorney for 20 hours a week. I mean, I've exceeded that, but I'm challenged. I get challenged a lot on those panels. And a lot of these men in these positions don't like us ladies. Let's call it what it is. They don't like when women come through knowing things and that we're vocal and that we're powerful. I got called, who is she? Who was one of the guys from off the panel and at the, I was gonna say the Pentagon, at the Capitol, told me that I was mouthy. Said I was mouthy. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then when I bumped head with somebody that's very high up, that's in the news all the time, him and I, we had words head to head. Like I said, I'm not your wife. I don't know who you think you're talking to, and I don't care who you are. Why do you want to keep this boy in prison? This like I just can't wrap my head around it. I challenged them on that. They don't think that you can say anything back to them. I'm going to say what I have to say. If I'm asking for an explanation on why you want to keep him in there, you don't have anything valid, that's a problem for me. And your only answer is, well, the governor gave him 40 years, but he still falls under the geriatric. That still falls under the geriatric law in the state of Virginia. He wouldn't even be going, he wouldn't even be able to go up to see the parole board till he's 65. That's crazy to me. 65 years old, and you're okay with that? So another 35 years, he's just sitting in prison for stealing 2 cell phones, 2 joints, and $60.
Wow.
Which he didn't even have in his possession, actually. So, and that's what you want to do. They gave him 40 years, or they thought that they did, you know, the first go around, they thought that they gave him a break. But I don't understand that geriatric law either. I think it's stupid, but that's my opinion as well. They have a lot of, they also have a lot of laws, ladies, that they're applying from 1820 in the state of Virginia. 1820. We went to the Virginia Supreme Court, and one of the things with Travion, it was a law that they was applying from 1820. We couldn't believe it. They couldn't even decipher a conditional pardon from a regular pardon to a partial pardon. It was a pure circus in that court that day with those 6 judges. And John, a Travion attorney, can attest to that. We was just, our minds were just blown. So even if you know what you know, the men, I don't take nothing from the men. There's wonderful men out here, but some of these men in these positions think it's their world. Fighting and don't back down. I don't think we have a back down group in here. I know Carrie don't back down. Hey, girl. No, she doesn't. And Patricia, you're in California?
Yes.
You're in Cali. What are your challenges there?
You know, I'm just getting into this. It's been like maybe a year, but it's just my age. I'm a girl. I'm 29 years old. I know nothing to anyone, so that's like my main challenge. No, and then of course I've met Lisa virtually, and she recently has been a great help. But the biggest challenge for myself has been my age. She knows nothing. She's a student, and it's just I'm a little bit like you, Monique. I like you because I'm a little bit like you. You know, I don't back down. And like you guys say, if not us, then who? I personally don't have a loved one. I've never had a loved one. But the case that really got me involved was Darnell Phillips' case. And when me and him are like such good friends, we talk every single day now. But that's what made me just emerge. And I get so livid and frustrated. And that's what made me go into, I'm a student right now, but it's my age and the fact that I'm a female. That's all it is.
It's sad. You keep doing what you need to do, Patricia, and you'll be on top of the game out there in Cali, and keep studying and learn all the little tricks. And again, verbiage is very important, writing these petitions and everything else, and working with attorney. Are you in school to be an attorney? Anybody in here is in school to be an attorney?
I'm transferring law school in a year. Yeah.
Okay, cool, good. All right.
Yeah, I'm finishing my paralegal certification right now, and then I'll be going on to law school.
Awesome, good. I love that. I love to hear that. That's awesome. John keeps trying to convince me to do the same thing, but I'm like, no, I like the advocacy work. I don't have the energy. I'm almost 50 years old. I don't have the energy for this.
Now, actually, I'm advocating while I'm getting there. I just started advocating, so I'm doing that. I try to help, you know, whatever way I can give, whether it's financially, support, sharing. I started doing that for the past couple of months now while I get, you know, to law school.
To law school. Well, congrats. That put a smile on my face. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Do any of you ladies, have any of you ladies done like charity drives and stuff for your loved ones as well? Like Bowl-a-thon. I had a day party for Travion. Yeah, we did bowling too for him. We did we sold food plates and stuff like that for him. Have any of you tried to do that?
So I had a question about Travion's case. Was his case, did you guys do like appeals and motions to vacate and habeas corpus for him as well?
He exhausted everything. Yeah. Everything was exhausted. He kept being denied. He kept getting denied and denied and denied. And then, so we went this route. After I talked to his attorney, I wanted to make sure that everything was exhausted. And then, you know, I was like, well, this is the next thing. The governor's the next thing because we don't have anything else. So, which he was going that way anyway, but I asked him if we could do it my way. And he was a little adamant because, you know, sometimes when you do bring the media and bring stuff to certain cases and everything, it's a little nerve-wracking because you don't know if you want your interest to be your well-being for those that are incarcerated, because you don't know if they're going to get hurt. You don't, you know, attention sometimes can be good or bad, you know. And so he was a little nervous about that. So I said, well, we're gonna have to do something. Everything else is exhausted. He's gonna die in here. So we went with that. And then when I had talked to his mom, I told his mom whenever he called her to tell him who I was and, you know, X, Y, and Z. And I told him to reach out to me. And then I went to visit him. I had drove up to, we had gotten closer to River, I think it was River North. Yeah, River North. He was only in there for like 3 months. And I drove there and sat and talked with him and stuff like that and told him what we was going to do because we had no other options, Janae. It was no other options. So when you've exhausted everything like that, and the only reason why we went to the Virginia Supreme Court is because we have wanted having all of this traction going on this case. And I think John had he filed for something, he did something. And Senator Marsden had co-signed on it. And then we went to the Virginia Supreme Court, which really didn't do anything for us for real. And then thank goodness for Governor McAuliffe. He was the one right before he went out of office, literally the day before he went out. We didn't know what was going to happen. He gave him that pardon right before he exited out of office. So
Wow.
we kept going and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. I didn't sleep for like 6 years. I'm not even gonna lie. I was exhausted. I said, Travion, when I picked him up out of Greensville, I cried, I hugged and kissed him and everything. I said, we going home and I'm going to sleep for the next 2 weeks because I'm tired. So
The network is low again.
feel that you're just hopeless and that it's a very empty emotional feeling. It really is. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, y'all. It's just you got to strategize and just keep pushing. And it depends on the case in itself. For Travion, a lot of people just felt sorry and they was just really pissed off of that you got a 14-year-old incarcerated for this. So that helped, honestly.
Okay, well, we are over by just a little bit, but I want to thank Monique for being with us tonight, sharing her information with us, her experience with Travion and the other advocacy work that she's done. Please send me your social media links to the cases that you work on or the sites that you post on, and we'll share that with each other. I will, when I send out, so after each Zoom, I will send out a link to the video if there's things that you want to go back and rewatch. I'll also send out the notes so you can take a look at that if there's like specific information that you want from that. And I will share all the social media links and Monique's contact information and Facebook info on the notes as well. That way we can all stay in contact. I'll also do the private Facebook page and get that in there as well, so you guys can go and join on there also. But thank you so much for everybody for taking the time out tonight. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to connecting with you more. I think, Renee, we really would like to get the information to try to help you and get some traction with your situation. And Nicole, you and I have another call that we're gonna do here soon. And Carrie, I'm calling you right after I get done with this. So
Lori, you can contact me as well so I can review the social media stuff and everything. And Carrie, I'm gonna hit you up on the side as well. I'll be doing a Zoom with Travion Blunt in a couple of weeks as well. So if you guys want to get on that, you can, because there's a lot of people that want to see him, and you know, So, you know, I'll send you the links and stuff to that as well, if you want to be on that. So,
That's perfect.
but it was a great connection, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you again, and I will talk to you all very, very soon.
Thank you,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
Bye.
Sandra, you
Bye.
can connect with me too. If I can
Thank
get
you.
information for any federal stuff. All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Hey, you were good. You were great.
Awesome.
You were good. I'm sorry. I caught you up there, and then when I hit to enter you to have you come in, then it just sat there. So I don't know if you had to like go back out and come back
Yeah,
in.
I had to go back out. It had froze, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I don't know if she sees my
Yeah, I saw you up in the little corner thing, but when I clicked on it to admit you, it just like it working or something. I don't know what it was doing, but
Yeah,
okay.
it happens.
All right. Well, hey, when you do your deal for with Travion,
Mm.
please let me know and I'll share it everywhere on all my stuff and send out an email to everybody to do that. This is my princess.
I